welcome to the Narrowing Path, walking the spiritual walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank y'all for joining me again today for the daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. And we are going through April, and it has been just a great adventure so far with these, just the first 6 days. It's been a lot of accountability, a lot of law of justice, a lot of just understanding the spiritual nature of things and having some peace just from that understanding and belief. So I'm looking forward to seeing what April 7th has, and I'm glad y'all are joining me for this. So thank y'all for joining me and jumping on today. And this will be fresh to you and fresh to me. So you will get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading, as this will be my first time reading it on the podcast. So here we go. This is the daily meditation from James Allen for April 7th. Rise above the allurements of sin and enter the divine consciousness, the transcendent life. There comes a time in the process of transmutation when, with the decrease of evil and the accumulation of good, there dawns in the mind a new vision, a new consciousness, a new man. And when this is reached, the saint has become a sage. He has passed from the human life to the divine life. He is born again. And there begins for him a new round of experiences. He wields a new power. A new universe opens out before his spiritual gaze. This is the stage of transcendence. This I call the transcendent life. When transcendence is attained, then the limited personality is outgrown and the divine life is known. Evil is transcended and good is all in all. As passion is the keynote of the self-life, so serenity is the keynote of the transcendent life. I can't find the word to describe this reading this time. I'm finding it to be a almost enchanting. It's a kind of foretelling, I guess. It's a story almost in this one, and I just really found it engaging. And the opening line was very, very powerful to me. Rise above the allurements of sin and enter the divine consciousness, the transcendent life. It's cast away the temptation to do these things, to sin, to live a life based on passions and self-fulfillment, and to cast those things aside for a life of spiritual principles and virtues, and to follow those things, and you enter into the divine consciousness, and that's the transcendent life that we all strive for. And I love how it's coupled with that last line, but we'll get to that after we get through the main body of this. But there comes a time in the process of transmutation when, with the decrease of evil and the accumulation of good, there dawns in the mind a new vision, a new consciousness, a new man. And that sounds almost too good to be true. That sounds incredible. That's a statement that for a very long time I would have had a hard time believing, because this is a statement that until you experience it will always have a certain level of skepticism and some intellectual interpretation that that a person can try to apply. I know I did, to justify what it means, to take what it says and put it into a way that aligns for the way you're living your life currently, or at least the way I was living my life currently at the time. Meaning and I was doing that because I didn't realize there was a different way to actually live, a different mindset. So when you get into this process of transmutation, James Allen states here, and you stop sinning and you stop having those selfish acts, those self-serving acts, and you start to walk the path of righteousness and goodness. Eventually, what will come to mind, he says, there dawns in the mind a new vision, a new consciousness, a new man. You begin to be blessed and gifted with a new perspective and outlook and understanding of life, new direction of life, a new perspective that life can take. And that new perspective for myself, when I started to actually shift into this different perspective, I started getting glimpses of it, maybe, because I'm not, as much as I'd like to believe I'm starting down this path, and I do believe I've at least started the path. How far down or how far along, I do not know, but when I started to begin to see a new vision of who I was, how I could live, and a new perspective, and I was a new man. I became a different man. I believe I became the man I was always built to be or intended to be. And it's been a realization, understanding, and blessing of proportion I didn't believe I was worthy to receive either. But thank God I did. He goes on to say, and when this is reached, the saint becomes a sage. Which is an interesting progression he states there. Saint becomes a sage. So the person of good actions and good intentions becomes the wise sage of understanding and perspective. So it's through the purification of our heart, the thinking of right thoughts and the doing of right deeds and good deeds, that we strive towards that saintly demeanor and character. And the closer we get to that, I believe the more we become sage-like. He finishes that sentence with, he has passed from the human life to the divine life. And that really does mean we've passed from a life that is self-serving and materialistic and pleasure-seeking and sensation-seeking into a life that is filled with divine and spiritual laws and principles and rewards and ways of living. And through that you find joy and happiness and freedom and kindness and so many other things. And this next sentence, I love how it starts. He is born again. That's what it felt like for me. It really did. It felt like I was born again. I was a new man. I was a whole different person. In the recovery world, we say often, or it's a common thing to be said maybe, that we are blessed with the opportunity to live two lives. And here, those two lives would be the human life and the divine life, the self-serving life and the truth-serving life, the good-serving life. So when he states he is born again, We are born again with this new perspective, with this new character, with this new drive and wisdom as to the walk of life and what it entails and the journey that it blesses us with. He's born again, and there begins for him a new round of experiences. So we start living a different life with a whole different set of experiences, because we're not just seeking to serve our own pleasures and sensations and our own comfortability. He goes on to finish that paragraph with, he wields a new power. A new universe opens out before his spiritual gaze. It is. And there's so much strength and so much power in living a spiritual life. There's so much to be grateful for, because you're blessed with the freedom to make choice. Because you have the freedom from those material things, those external validations, those things we've relied on for so long to give us that growth. And a new universe opens out before his spiritual gaze. All of life looks different. All of life takes on new meaning. This is a stage of transcendence. This is where transcendence is a journey, a path of growth, and it's of change, and transcending our own selfish and self-seeking desires, animalistic desires, passion desires. This I call the transcendent life. When transcendence is attained, then the limited personality is outgrown. I love that, limited personality, because that's what it was. My personality was limited by my fears, by my desires from all of these things that I didn't even realize were a self-imposed prison, bonds that kept myself chained down. And I just didn't know how limited I was, how caged in I was. When transcendence is attained and the limited personality is outgrown, the divine life is known, evil is transcended, and good is all in all. So we take that negative perspective. We take that miserable, depressive, anxious, selfish, nihilistic, however it manifested for you, that self-seeking life and the failure of that life, the pain of that life, that evil is transcended, that sin is transcended, that way of thinking is transcended. And we find good in all things. We know that all things are good. And that I can't even articulate how joyful that is, to know that life overall and in general is good. He ends up with, as passion is the keynote of the self-life. So passion is what defines the life lived serving self. So serenity is the keynote of a transcendent life. Peace, serenity, wisdom. What I think most are looking for in their life comes from that transcendent life, that divine life, that spiritual walk, that narrow path that we have to take when we enter into this realm of living and this perspective of living. It's a whole new life, and thank God for that. I am eternally grateful to be able to live a whole nother life in one lifetime, one physical lifetime at least. So, loved that reading, absolutely. I found so much good stuff here, and encouragement and inspiration in that, and a reminder for the gratitude I have to be where I'm at, and the almost the excitement of knowing that there's more to come, and every step I take is growth into that transcendent life. So very, very grateful for it. So thank you all for joining me today for today's reading. I'm going to wrap it up there. Very powerful reading today, and I hope that it was enjoyed by y'all as well. Go ahead, head over to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk Facebook page. Give it a like and a follow. It would be appreciated. And you can get the most recent updates and make sure you don't miss the newest podcast when they get released. So I'm looking forward to y'all joining me tomorrow. And until next time, thanks.